Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snowfell Charm School. I'm your host, Evangeline, and I am going to, together, we are going to look at how personality affects our relationships. Okay? We'll be going through what I have developed, a 12-step personality system that is quite aligned with the 10 personality disorders in the DSM-5. If you're interested in looking at that, you'll get a lot of clarity on the diagnosis, how that's done, how it is differentiated from a personality to a disorder. I've taken these aspects just to get an idea of the the 12 different forms of personality that can exist in the world. Now, the DSM-5, as far as a disorder goes, is is about extremities. Like, these are extreme cases in the DSM-5. I've also incorporated the Big Five personality assessment in order to get a better understanding of what elements of personality are in effect when we look at these different personalities. Each of these personalities are going to have different perspectives on the other, like one personality will have a different perspective on another personality. And so I will be walking you through some of the reactions a personality can have with another. First, I like to start off with a bit of a security check. I'm going to cleanse off your aura just to clarify any negative feelings, ideas, or conceptions that you might have brought into class today. All right, so if you don't mind, I'm just going to start with around your face and work my way down towards the heart and the stomach. All right, so I'm going to brush that off. Around the ears, to the third eye this time, and then under the chin, if you don't mind lifting that up, and we get your neck, your shoulders, that collarbone. Alright, I'm going to polish that up. Ears, the third eye, the neck, the shoulders, the collarbone, and the other shoulder. Alright, if you don't mind having a little spin for me, I'm going to do the back of your aura. I'm going to cleanse the back of your head, the back of your neck, your shoulders, and then down your spine. And if you don't mind sitting up for me, that nice posture. I'm going to start polishing up behind your head, behind those ears, back of your neck, your shoulders, and down that spine. Alright, if you don't mind spinning back around for me, I'm just going to brush off your heart and your stomach. So keep that posture and activate those abs for me. Very good. Polish up the heart area and then the stomach. All right, wonderful. Now that you're all cleansed, how do you feel? Relaxed, I hope. Good, comfortable. Are you enjoying the music? I'm gonna now offer you some refreshments to boost the serotonin in you so that we can have a nice, cordial interaction, okay? So I have some Rose popcorn, a nice salty snack for you. Place that over here. You may partake in as much as you'd like. I also have a box of candies, very sweet. A little goes a long way, but have as much as you like. We do not count calories here. And also a beverage for you. Put that here for you. And this beverage is for me. All right. So I'm going to lay out a case study for us to analyze, and we're going to talk about whichever personality that shows up. We did talk about narcissistic personality, We talked about borderline personality, and our last video was just on stable personality. So if you're interested in any of those videos, they're easily accessible and clearly labeled on my channel. We may run into, this reading could possibly be another borderline, another narcissistic, or another stable personality, just depending on what shows up. If it does show again, there is obviously some more that we need to discuss, a little bit more that we need to have an overview on. So yeah. So it is a surprise. It will be as equally a surprise to you as it is to me, or to me as it is to you, however way you want to do it. I hope that you're having a wonderful day. If you do not wish to have a wonderful day, then that's totally your choice, and I completely accept it. And that is, that's a good segue. This is the process of this. Well, this is the reason why we go through this process, is to learn radical acceptance of all personalities, since they are rather fixed and all these elements exist in the world for some reason or another. So we should learn to live harmoniously with them, even if the personality itself isn't coined by being harmonious. Okay. As we go through this, I will try to give some guidance on how to identify any of these personalities that we might talk about, and how to identify it in yourself as well. I know that some of these personalities can overlap in traits, because there are only 4 personality traits, minus neuroticism, which I think kind of does an umbrella on all of them. I think neuroticism is kind of like where we get into disorder level, and without that, it's just simply a personality. But these personalities are rather reflective of the 10 personalities that are in the DSM-5, plus 2 more that I think are rather well known, but I don't think are labeled as such, or at least I have not come across them. One of them being stable personality. I don't think people talk about a stable personality. I think they just kind of I think most people want to achieve it, or want others to achieve it. I do not think that it's practical that everyone be a stable personality. Honestly, it would be very boring. It would be a very, very dull world if we were all stable. And shout out to all my stable people. We love you. We love you, love you. Like, we love you, love you. All right? But we all can't be like that. Nor do I wish that upon you. I'm going to show you the bottom of the deck, although it shows no relevance so far in the 3 videos that we've done, except for more of a talking point, which the tarot card reading is very much a talking point. This is so that we can analyze characters instead of analyzing people, so that we can get more of a sterile environment to understand these things as entities and not as people, because people can be rather complex and personalities can change, although they don't often do. Alright, so we have Temperance here. This is stable energy right here. Speaking of our stable people, shout out again to you. So we could be running into a stable energy, we might not. We'll see. I'm just going to put that there. And we are going to look at our case study client, and that is going to be represented by the 9 of Cups. So this is someone who's going to be rather proud of their accomplishments. This is someone who's, socially involved. This could be histrionic, possibly, just off the top of my head. But let me grab my notes to make sure they're a little bit more easily accessible. It could be histrionic, it could be social as well. That is another one of the personality traits that are not found in the DSM-5, because it's not a disorder, it's simply a personality. This could be narcissistic. We've seen this card before for the narcissist. It could be obsessive as well. So we'll see. The baseline or the background of this character is going to be the Four of Cups. So this is someone who's like rather dissatisfied with things. So the combination is giving me obsessive. So we might be talking about an obsessive personality. Above our Nine of Cups case study character, we have the Ace of Swords, and we also have the Nine of Swords. Let me just turn that down a little bit since they're being a little vocal. Okay. Okay. So we can tell that our case study here is going to be rather intelligent, but also rather anxious. So I will have to say that this is an obsessive type. Yeah, this is an obsessive type. I don't really have much to say else about that. I kind of like the obsessive type as being a very clear-cut type of personality to see. It's showcased in movies and television really easily. You know, very much that uptight individual. Very much the party planner, very organized. If this was a zodiac sign, it would be represented by, I would think, Capricorn or Virgo. Very ambitious and perfectionistic. On one side, we have I guess on the side of where we have very much a lot of intelligence, we have the Adult of Swords and the Emperor. So this is someone who communicates a lot of their commands. So yes, this is very obsessive energy. This is someone who tells people what to do. They're the type I feel like they are the person who wrote the statement, if you want it done right, do it yourself. This is very much that energy. A little bossy, a little confused, or not confusing, a little controlling. They are not confusing. The obsessive type, we can be very sure that the obsessive type is not confusing. They do not confuse, and they definitely don't do it on purpose. They're very straightforward. They know, you know exactly how they feel about you from the get-go. On the side in which they have a little bit of anxiety, we also have the Seven of Swords and the Ace of Cups. So this is someone who is very protective of their emotional stability. This is someone who will try to learn tips and tricks in order to keep other people from harming them emotionally. So they can get into the Machiavelli type of energy. They can be a bit manipulating. Although it's very different than a narcissist, although they share the same ratio of extroversion and agreeability. They both have high extroversion and have low agreeability. And this agreeability, unlike in the narcissism, the low agreeability trait shows itself in putting people down. The obsessive shows their lack of agreeability as being rather fearful, distrusting, unimpressed, unenthused. They're rather detached. All right, and if they do, and getting attached for them is seen as being very dangerous. It's a little bit on the side of avoidant, but this is someone who, unlike the avoidant, will tell you what you're doing wrong when you're doing it wrong. They'll take offense at you not correcting yourself immediately, and this is where they get into the their disagreeability is in their lack of being able to be harmonious in an autonomous sense. They need you to work for them. They expect you to work for them. They don't see people as people. They see people as tools. All right. As far as oxytocin, serotonin, or dopamine go, they're rather heavy on serotonin, but it's very cold, very strict. So it's not always so comforting for everybody, but it is rather pretty. All right. They can provide a good bit of hospitality, but it's very, very under control. This can be something that's very similar to borderline personality as far as how far they will go to be a good host or hostess. But it and also like the borderline, when those efforts are not appreciated, they can be disgruntled, but the borderline will show their disgruntledness through loud, bold, aggressive action, usually through talk, while the obsessive will turn cold and detached and will no longer consider you part of their life. All right, this is very cutthroat, very yes, and I feel as though I am harnessing a lot of this obsessive energy today, because the way that I am talking is rather neat, precise. It's just not without a lot of stumbling, although I do. Excuse me. Speaking of that, let me just get a cup of water, glass of water, a jar of water, a mug of water, a canteen of water. This whatever I'm having, whatever is this canteen, right? The obsessive is an individual that enjoys peace, but on their terms, right? They're going to be very calculative, very conscientious, but also exceptionally smart. The obsessive is exceptionally smart. That's the high quality. They can provide serotonin, although it comes with a catch. They can provide serotonin, but they can easily take it away as well. They are not very good at oxytocin because they are not very good at listening to other people without providing criticism, which is a big turnoff for oxytocin. They aren't fair. They can be good at dopamine, but again, it's on their terms. They'll, if they do exude or promote dopamine in others, it's usually something that's rather natural, because their aesthetic is really prone to being clean cut and neat. So this could provide dopamine to those who like someone who is really put together. It's giving very they like to be perfect. So it doesn't, so again, like they can provide serotonin, they could provide dopamine, they could even provide a little bit of oxytocin, but these things aren't consistent, which is, I think, is very interesting, because I think the obsessive individual would like to stay perceived as consistent. On the outside they could be seen as consistent, but on the inside they're rather inconsistent, again, with a lot of that anxiety, a lot of that fearful of bad things happening. They can catastrophize a little bit like the borderline personality, but they will withdraw. You know, they will go into their shell until they're ready to perfect what's going on. They're really good at damage control. Yes, they're very good at damage control. Let's see here. Let's look at this other card here, on the side of which they're like kind of giving commands and in you know, being very directing. This is very manager, very supervisor energy, very boss energy. Okay. We also have the hangman here. So this is someone who's, it's kind of like their perspective is a bit on the shallow side. Again, they do not relate well to other people. They lack a little bit of that empathy, which is the reason why they have, well, their low agreeability can account for that. If they do see other people's perspective, it's a little bit more like they're more reflective upon themselves. They're a little bit, you know, they are image concerned. So if you bring something, they're very sensitive to criticism. While they give criticism rather easily, they have a hard time accepting criticism. But if they do take a form of criticism, it is to damage control their self-image. And this could be very beneficial to a lot of people if you can find a way to communicate issues with them. If gone unchecked, they can be very tyrant and very dictator-esque. We also have here the Ace of Wands. So the Hangman and the Ace of Wands seems to be a little bit elements outside of them. They do have ambition. A lot of their fiery energy, what a lot of other people would put into sexual energy, they put into work. Again, for appearances, they're very, very concerned about how people perceive them, and they will put all their efforts into that. That being said, their private lives can be a little bit hectic, or unorganized, or a bit messy, because they're so focused on the surface image and not the deep, like, inner work. Which is, again, to all my obsessives out here who are watching this, I guess, well, with all the obsessives out here watching this, this is not a critique. This is a celebration, right? We need people with this type of personality. I think an obsessive individual likes to be all the things. They like to be. They would love to be a person who can promote oxytocin, serotonin, and dopamine, but it's just not the case. No one. Well, you could, but oxytocin is going to be your struggle, because you need to be authentic, which means that you can't filter yourself, and you need to let other people be authentic, which means you can't correct them. All right, that's how you do oxytocin. There is no other way to do it. You can't. There's no perfect. I can't do a 5-step program in how to promote oxytocin. It has to come from you. That being said, yeah. The personalities that I think would appreciate the obsessive individual really well, as far as relationships go, I think definitely the avoidant personality, someone with an avoidant personality, it is very fond of an obsessive, because the obsessive is highly distracted by their personal goals, that the avoidant doesn't have to worry about someone trying to pry into their personal life and trying to understand who they are and all that other stuff. An avoidant's going to feel safe with an obsessive, because it's not about the avoidant, it's about the obsessive, and the avoidant rather not be center stage. Okay. Stable individuals will see the obsessive as a real go-getter, very ambitious, very accomplished. So you can get a lot of praise from stable people as an obsessive. I would definitely keep them into the friend zone. Otherwise, you might get frustrated with, as an obsessive, you might get frustrated with a stable individual, because they lack the motivation that you have. I would say that social individuals will also be very impressed with the obsessive. So, but that is going to be very, like, rather work related, or family related. I would definitely say if you're an obsessive and you have a family member that is social, I think they would really appreciate the efforts you put into celebrating them, especially as far as it goes to parties and meetings, any type of coming together of other people. If you're social and you let an obsessive take control over your event, you'll have a wonderful time. And I think the obsessive will too, because you'll show a lot of gratitude for it. I would say that the schizoid individual would also be very pleased with the obsessive. They're going to be very impressed by your ambition and your ability to be out there and you know, make a name for yourself. I would definitely, if you're obsessive, I would definitely stay away from narcissists. They're gonna see you as uptight. I would stay away from a lot of the high extroversion, low agreeability section here. The three there: the narcissist, the antisocial, and another obsessive. I think another obsessive meeting another obsessive would put a lot of pressure to be competitive. So I would definitely, unless you might, as an obsessive, strive on with pressure. So you might enjoy that. You might enjoy having, and I think that would be maybe an obsessive as a friend would be kind of good for you if you are trying to, if you're both trying to meet a goal and you have to race toward it. You will feel the you'll feel the push to get there. I think that a dependent and an obsessive will do really well. It does seem like the dependents, all my dependents out there, dependent personalities, tend to work well with a lot of personalities, especially the low agreeability, high extroversion, which is opposite of the dependent. They're low extroversion, high agreeability, but an obsessive independent dynamic would be mastermind and minion. So this could work really well. I think the obsessive would tire of that in a romantic or sexual relationship, unless you do really enjoy telling other people what to do in all aspects. But you could feel inequity there, so you would definitely be more of the dominant in that situation, especially because the dependent is rather submissive. Yes, I would say that I would stay away from paranoid and schizotypical, or schizotypal, typal, schizotypal. I don't know how to say that quite yet. If you know how to pronounce that, and like if you know how to write that down in a way that I could pronounce it, that'd be great. In the comments, that'd be great. I would stay away from them, the paranoid and the schizotypal. The paranoid's going to see you as kind of sneaky. They're not going to believe you when you're very clear about what it is that you want to do, even though you're going to be very clear about it. It's just not a perspective that they're going to be able to handle. And I would also, I would stay away from the schizotypal because they're going to kind of see you as a agent of the matrix kind of essence, trying to tell them what to do, which you probably are. You probably are, and I don't think that comes out of any malice. I think that you do think that people aren't reaching their potential, and they could. It is a little bit demeaning. I'm going to let you know that you can't do that with everyone, because that's a little bit demeaning. I would stay away from the high extroversion and except for the social. When it comes to like the borderline and histrionic, the borderline is going to see you as a slave driver and never appreciative of their work. So they will grow to resent you in time. So if you don't want to be resented later on in life, I would stay away from borderline personalities. Histrionic is going to see you as, just kind of like uptight. They're gonna see you as like not really fun. The histrionic is not going to see the obsessive as a fun person. All right. So if you want to be seen as a fun person, I would definitely stick to social personalities. Okay. Give me 1 second. My music seemed to have stopped. That was kind of getting me in the flow of things. Okay. I'm going to pull some clarification card. Well, I'm going to say that the cards that I'm pulling next are going to be gratitude cards. So we're going to show some gratitude to our obsessives. Maybe give a little bit of, the obsessives don't really need a lot of advice. Again, honestly, the obsessives are the closest to perfect as a person can get. It does take away a lot of their humanity, though, so they can be a little bit robotic. They are definitely working people, kind of just like the stable personality. They're both really good at office jobs, so that's a good environment for an obsessive. That's where you're going to be appreciated for your work, especially if you are in a supervisor role. The stable person is going to be just the work person, and the obsessive is going to be the manager. Yeah, the stable person is going to be the subordinate of the obsessive. The obsessive does kind of carry that managerial role, supervisor role everywhere they go. If you do identify as an obsessive and you're not in a supervisor or managerial role, I would definitely work towards that. You're going to feel a lot more, you're going to release a lot more of that energy that you hold in, and it won't show up in your personal relationships, which I don't think it should, but that's just me. I have a different personality, and when we get to a reading that is about my personality, I will be, kind of over the moon to talk about it. On the bottom of the deck, we have the Hangman again for our gratitude. So yeah, this is someone who is like, although they can't see a lot of people's perspective, they can see a perspective in function. They can see a lot of potential in other people, but that potential is not based on the person, it's based on the goals of the obsessive. So if you are related to someone who identifies as an obsessive personality, I would not go to them for advice if you aren't already established in your personhood. They will unknowingly, without any ill intent, dismantle you piece by piece because they think that's the best way to put you back together. That doesn't sit well with a lot of personalities, but some personalities do enjoy that, like the dependent or the social. Honestly, the social could enjoy a little bit of a personality review. Yeah, just because the social personality seems to be rather optimistic about everything, so they can handle that pretty well. They're not going to get too sensitive about that. We have here, I'm going to start off with the Empress. So yes, again, our obsessive individual is going to be very, very like well put together, very, very pretty, whether this is male or female, or non-binary. This is going to be someone who is well put together. All right, this is someone who could be really into makeup. Makeup seems to be a big thing for the obsessive. Hair, anything that you could put on, they like everything to be perfect, perfect, neat. They like neatness. That's their form of beauty. So if you are looking, and I think that's a good way to put it. If you are someone who's interested in your aesthetic and you got an idea of what your aesthetic, like what you want your aesthetic to be, you can go to an obsessive for advice for how to perfect that style. But if you're starting from ground zero, that's not where you want to go. All right. If you just want to elevate, I would talk to an obsessive. We also have the Six of Wands, or Six of Pentacles. Sorry about that. Especially if you're an obsessive watching this, I am so sorry. That must be driving you crazy. I do not mean to make mistakes. I am human. I am not perfect. Okay. I see you. And yes, you're perfect. You might not always feel that way, but you are perfect. You're the closest thing to perfect that perfect can get. So I would definitely take the trophy and go with it. But what I was going to say with the Six of Pentacles, this is someone who is very willing to give their advice, their help, mostly their advice. Unlike the borderline, who will put in a lot of work, to make you comfortable or elevate you in some sort of way. The obsessive will give lots of advice. If you're an obsessive and you're not interested in a managerial or supervisor role, you could definitely get into providing advice. You could do that by being an influencer, like me, like on YouTube. You could, whatever profession that you're in before this video, if it is that you want to change things up, you could definitely give advice on your experiences. You are going to have really, really good advice because you're kind of looking at every non-living thing there, all right? No matter how often you've been there, I guarantee that you're going to give really, really great advice on how to elevate anything. We also have the Two of Cups. So the obsessive is someone who probably has a really fond idea of what a relationship is or what a relationship could be. They're looking for that kind of like perfection in their relationship. And I think that the best one for a perfect relationship would probably, and I think this would depend on whether you identify as male, female, or non-binary, but I will try to keep it in a non-binary sense. I would say that the obsessive would, I think the obsessive and the avoidant is probably going to be your best relationship. Yep, it's going to be your best overcompensing relationship. Yes, because you can be in a lot of control over when you guys are intimate. Also a lot of control in when you guys do talk, although it probably won't be a long or deep conversation. Neither of these two traits have the qualities necessary for, like I said before, that deep oxytocin type of conversation. I think that an obsessive and a schizoid could also be a pretty good match if you're not trying. Because the obsessive has such high extroversion, they do kind of want to be seen, so the schizoid individual could be a hindrance to that. They're not going to go with you to lots of parties. The avoidant will, though, as long as you don't make them talk. Okay? If the avoidant can just hide behind the costume that you put them in, the avoidant's going to let you dress them. The avoidant's going to let you talk for them. The avoidant's going to let you take the reins on a lot of things. So I definitely would aim for an avoidant. The best way for an obsessive to pin down an avoidant, I would say, would be, I think that they'll kind of naturally be drawn to each other. They will naturally be drawn to each other. As an obsessive, I would say kind of look for the one person who's just kind of hanging around but not doing anything. I think that your best bet is to find love at a workplace, and you're going to be looking for someone who's just kind of not doing anything. All right, and then I think because the avoidant also has a hard time of developing oxytocin, that you can go through, and I think you'll like this part because it's a little Machiavellian, but you can override that by talking to their parasympathetic nervous system by providing them tasks to do. And I would say that if you're obsessive, so it's a little predatory. So, but we need predators just like we need prey. So I would definitely keep my eyes out for someone who's not doing anything, and then start off with small tasks. It's called the foot in the door process or influence. That's when you offer something small, and if they take that, then you can offer something bigger and bigger and bigger. And by offer, I mean request. This is going to be like, if we're going to do love languages, which I have a little bit of like, I think that the love languages aren't exactly done well. But I think that this is going to be an acts of service, and by acts of service, I mean requested services or requested gifts. All right. As an obsessive, as an obsessive, I would not put any weight in wanting to be pleasantly surprised by anything. I would say that as an obsessive, you identify as an obsessive, you would probably say that you have not been pleasantly surprised by anything. You don't really feel that. You don't really get that feeling. It's either it goes as it's supposed to be, or it's a disappointment. It's kind of the mindset we got here going on. So I definitely look for avoidant. You can ask them for things. You can ask them to do things. And the more you ask and the less you want to know them or try to like entice them or anything like that, like the avoidant is going to love your very direct approach. Okay. We also have the Child of Wands. I would say that if you are obsessive and you're looking to be a little bit more like dynamic outside of work, like if you try to make you will try to make your relationships work, all right? So, and I mean, you'll try to make your relationships a type of work. You will try to look for policies and procedures on how to have a relationship. And I would say that that's kind of rather unnecessary if you pick the right person. If you do find yourself having to manipulate things, then I don't think this is anything wrong on your behalf. I think that this is just poor person choice. If you are trying to add a little bit more dopamine to your relationship, then I would say that costuming, of course, and you can be really neat about your costuming, makeup, and stuff like that. So you could definitely look at some references to like sex symbols, kind of get an idea of like, I would say like a YouTube video on like 10 tips to be a sex symbol or something like that. I think that would be really appropriate for your personality type. I think that would be really appropriate for your personality type. When it comes, and you also have the Sun card. Again, you do have all the skills to have a very, very successful life. You can be very pleased with things. You do have to be careful when it comes to people, though. You can handle every single thing else in the world, whether it's pets, a garden, the arrangement of rocks outside your house or whatever. You got that. You can make a little bit of a paradise. You can. Easy peasy. But when other people show up, that's when disaster can incur. So I'll definitely be choosy, and I think that you are, about the people that are in your life. And avoidant individual is probably the best neutral aspect. If you're looking for a little bit more dopamine in your partner, I would say that borderline would be a good one for you. Excuse me. I think borderline would be a good one for dopamine. If you're looking for a little bit more oxytocin, then I definitely think that the dependent would be a good one. Yeah. So you can make your choice based on that. I would say that if you identify as male or masculine, I think that looking for a dependent would be good. I think that would be good for you. If you are feminine, or if you're female or identify as feminine, then I think the borderline would be good for you. All right. If you're neutral, if you go with the avoidant, or if you don't want to embrace a specific gender, then I would say yeah, avoidant. We also have the Three of Cups here. I think as far as friends go, I would definitely go with stable or social or schizoid. Stable, social, or schizoid is probably going to be your best friend group. All right. So you're going to, as far as social goes, you're going to be looking for people that like to go out to like eat. This is going to be like a girls' night. You're going to be looking for girls if you are a girl, or if you're a guy, then you're going to be looking for what's the equivalent of that? Like maybe like sports, maybe like a sports club or something like that. I think would be, you know, especially if you get the opportunity to host a sports club, like, you know, get all the snacks and in the decorations and Super Bowl kind of thing. I don't know why I'm excited about that, but I guess I just like food. I was just thinking about the nachos. um, I think that I think as far as like stable goes, that's going to be a good place for you to rest. A stable individual. Now it doesn't matter whether you're male or female. I don't know why this is a. I feel like obsessive is probably the one that's going to be most concerned about the male or female organization of this, because they're very categorical, which is kind of funny because this is all categories, but and I said that I'm not obsessive, but I do like I'm I think that I would be a little bit more obsessive if I was a little bit more demanding. I think that's the difference. But I do like how everything kind of lays out here. Or maybe I'm just embedded in this energy right now for this reading. Yeah, I think maybe on my other ones too, I've kind of just gotten into like the personalities of each of them. So I don't know, maybe that's a 13th personality to be able to fluctuate between the other ones. But I'm pretty sure I'm one of these other personalities that we will talk about at some time. But I do like getting in the head. I like getting in other people's heads, I suppose. Yeah. I would say that is probably all I have for you today. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did not enjoy the video, then that's your choice, and I completely understand it. It's not perfect, so I get it. I hope that you have a wonderful morning, day, afternoon, evening, or night. If you do not wish to have a wonderful morning, day, afternoon, evening, or night, that's totally your choice, and I completely respect it. Until next time, I'll see you guys. Bye.